Hello everyone, my name is Alberto, welcome back to my channel. Please like and subscribe. If you aren't, it's a great help for me. This is sort of a continuation of last week's video. If you remember, I did the pattern and the sewing of the shirt. I'll link it here if you haven't seen it. So while I did that, I also took the chance of cutting another pattern because I had some fabric left, and that was for a pair of shorts. So this is how they turned out. These are all the pieces: back pocket, front pockets, and then I have the plackets for the zipper. I haven't exactly cut the belt because I did it later. I didn't pattern it. So I started as before by just simply overlocking and ironing all the pieces in order to make them easy to work with. I started with the pocket, folded all the sides because this is just the back pocket is just applied to the fabric, and then I double folded the top of the pocket like that. So fold it once just so the crease can sort of command the second fold, and then fold it again. Now before sewing, I decided to add some decorative stitching, kind of like on denim pockets. You don't need to do that, it doesn't have any function, but I just thought it might look nice. So I use my erasable pen to just trace a couple lines to use as guides. I start by stitching down the edge of the pocket, the top hem, and then I flip it over and stitch down the two lines I drew. I used them as a guide, so I stitched one of the seams on the line and one right on top, but again, you could do lines for each if you want, or actually you don't need to draw the lines at all. This is just to be a little bit extra precise. So this is how the pocket looks. I'm gonna iron it again. Now I take the back. I did pattern the back with a small dart, so I'm gonna close that first. I did trace it with the pen again just to make it easier. On a whiter fabric it's pretty nice because you don't have to mark the point of the dart or all of that. You can just draw it on, stitch it down, and then with a bit of steam all the drawn lines go away. And as you can see, then we can just fold it to the side, iron it to the side. And that's it. Now I'm marking where the pockets are. Again, I did do this on the pattern already. You can sort of eyeball it if you prefer, but this is just sort of a small guide to attach them, makes it a bit easier. And then I place the pocket on top and go to stitch it on. This is very easy. Again, it's just edge stitched all around. And then, as in denim, what I decided to do was to double stitch it as well. So basically I go back a couple stitches just to give me an extra 0.5 of a centimeter to use as a guide, and then basically just parallel stitch all around the pocket. And again, you don't need double stitching, but Just looks better in my opinion. Then I joined the two back pieces off camera because it's a very simple join. I'm gonna start working on the front, so I'm gonna close the bottom half of the front seam. This is because they're gonna have a zipper, so I marked where the zipper will end, and I'm just gonna start attaching all the different pieces. This is the inside placket where the zipper will go on, and I'm just gonna attach it and finish exactly where I finished the stitching for closing the two parts of the front. So it's gonna end exactly in the same point. Then I'm gonna edge stitch this bit so that I'm gonna make sure that it lies nice and flat, and it's gonna be easier to fold towards the inside. Now we can start adding the zipper on the other side of the pant. Just gonna stitch it down. And then closing the pants with pins will give me the position where to stitch the zipper on the other side, because it's gonna naturally lie on that point. So I pinned it down, and I'm just gonna stitch it down on the other side. Now I'm gonna close the bottom from the outside, and I'm gonna start doing the outside stitching. This is gonna hold the placket down on the inside, and it's gonna partially close the whole zipper unit. To do that, after the first line, I'm gonna add the skin protector, stitch it on the zipper, and then I'm gonna do the second row of stitching on the outside, and this will basically block the lower part of the skin protector so it cannot open all the way. Once that is done, I'm gonna stitch down the bottom seam of the pants as a sort of a fake French seam. Then I'm gonna tack down from the outside the bottom of the zipper. Gonna start working on the front pockets, just attaching the two pieces I cut. I cut the pockets as one piece. You can do it in multiple pieces, that's fine. This just makes it easier, and because they're sort of sporty-ish pants, it doesn't really matter. Closing the bottom of the pockets, and finally attaching the sides. Then overlocking the side seams. This is made exactly the same way as the shirt. And now we can fold them to the side to get our fake French seam. Now I'm taking this moment to overlock the bottom hem, the reason being that I prefer to have it as much as possible as a continuous seam. So the pant is still open in the center, but that way the external seam is overlocked together instead of having different pieces. I think it looks cleaner. Now we can finally close the central seam of the pant, the inside leg. This one I'm gonna leave open, and I'm not gonna stitch to the side. And now I'm gonna have to iron it flat. So it looks nicer and neater. And I also ironed the hem back 3 centimeters, which is again sort of my standard hem size. I'm gonna stitch it down. And off camera I also cut the strip for the waistband. I already folded half up as you would do for a shirt collar, because that's the same way I apply the waistband. I'm gonna close the two edges very easily, and then I'm gonna clip the edges, turn the waistband the right way up, and iron it flat. Now I can start attaching the waistband. I prefer to attach it on the inside first and then flip it towards the outside, because on the inside that way we just follow basically the folded line, and that makes it pretty easy. Plus, if you measure correctly, you know, the size is precise, so you don't have really to struggle about anything. And then we can turn it, and this way we're going to completely encase the seam, and we're going to get a very nice and clean finish. So now we're just top stitching at the bottom end. When we get to the edge, then we're going to edge stitch all around the waistband on the sides and the top. I also prepared a little strip. This is going to be my belt loop. So I simply sewed along the whole strip. Then I took this little hook, which is used to reverse it. It's just you pass it through the whole tube, and then by pulling it, it helps you reverse it. The tube then is going to be edge stitched on both sides in order to hold it down, and I'm going to give it a quick press and cut it to size. Once that is done, we can just simply stitch on the belt loops. In this case, they're just folded back slightly and stitched on, but you could include them in the belt seam if you preferred. Once that is done, I'm gonna make the buttonhole with my automatic buttonhole machine. Then I'm gonna attach a denim button, which is hammered in place. And this is how the finished button looks. And this is the final look of the pants. I hope you liked the video, was interesting for you to see. If you did, please leave a like, subscribe if you aren't, it's a great help, and I'll see you next time. Bye, have a great day.